Hey everybody, welcome back. You want to have the same document open that we were working with yesterday, and we are on the tab at the bottom that is called cell referencing. Cell referencing means writing formulas that refer to other cells. So if you look at the document that I've got here, in B4, C4, and D4, I've written three numbers, 6, 2, and 9. That's all that's in those three cells. We come down here, and we hit enter so that we can edit this formula. This is going to take those three numbers and add them together. This is going to be really useful in statistics because often you have a large block of numbers and you want to add them or find the mean or the standard deviation, all sorts of things. Now, a couple things that are nice about this. Let's suppose I realize that I typed one of the numbers incorrectly, which can happen. I can just change this to a 3, and it will change it everywhere that we used this cell in reference. Really useful, right? A couple things you do have to keep in mind is that an equation, and if I'm going to hit Control, this is an equation, right here. If you're going to be using an equation, equations work with numbers. So if I was to change this to something else, like, I don't know, Steve, then when I try to calculate down here, it's going to be confused because it doesn't understand what's entered in C4 as a number. Likewise, let's change that back to 3. What if this is measured in feet? If I type in 3 feet, it's also going to get an error because 3 feet is not a number, only 3 is. Now here's a weird one. Imagine that this 3 represents 3%. So I type in 3%. Watch what happens now. Okay. It took the 6, the 3, and the 9, added them together, and it came up with this. And here's the reason. There's no percent on the 6 or the 9, so it assumed this was 6 out of 1, which is 600%, and that this right here is 9 out of 1, which is 900%. So it added 900, 3, and 6 together to give me the value right here. So I'm going to hit Control-Z, and I'm going to back it up to the last time things made sense. Go ahead and complete the rest of this tab. Moving along, we're now on copying to a new sheet. One of the really helpful things on Google Sheets is that you can grab things that you did on other pages. So for instance, you may have noticed as you were working through this that your name keeps coming up in these little purple bars. There's a reason for that. I'm going to show you how to do it. Your name, your first name at least, is in cell C7 of the very first tab. Now if we go back, here it is. The first tab is called Welcome, and C7 is right there. So I'm going to return to our copy new sheet. And in this space, I'm going to hit enter. Let's type in the name of, it would help if I spelled it correctly, of the tab, which is welcome. And then you have to put an exclamation point in to tell Google Sheets that you're talking about a tab. And then you just put in the cell location. So C7. You'll see that it lights up. Once again, light up means that Google Sheets knows what you're talking about. And if you hit enter, ta-da, there you have it. Where this is going to be particularly helpful for us is when we are pulling statistics off of other pages. So for instance, on the last page, brilliant student, we had come up with the number 18 here, and that's in cell B9. Maybe that's important to us. So we want to be able to pull that number up again. So I'm going to type in equal, and then look at the name of the tab. It was cell referencing. Make sure that you spell it correctly. If it's spelled incorrectly, you'll get no value. Exclamation point, and then we were in, you know, this is something that happens to me all the time. I will forget the cell that I was looking for. The good news is I can click back here. See, it was B9. Now when I return, I'm going to see an error symbol, but all I have to do is hit enter and then pop in B9, and there we go. I can even, if I wanted to, do something to it here. Let's suppose that I knew that I needed to take that number and divide it by 5. I could hit the division button, which is the same button as the question mark, 5, and it would automatically do that for me. So you go ahead and read this and then complete the rest of this tab. Let's move on. Conversions. We can use Google Sheets in order to convert one column to a different set of numbers in another column. So if you look at what we've got in front of us here, we have 25 individuals and we have their heights. Their heights are measured in inches. Let's suppose that we are sending it to some people in Europe where they have figured out that centimeters are a much better way of measuring. Metric system. And so we need to take Jameson hashtag right here and we hashtag, one more time. Conversions. We can convert one column into a different set of numbers in another column using Google Sheets. So if you look over here, you'll see that I have 25 individuals, the first of whom is Mr. Hashtag Jameson. And in the next column, I have hashtags height measured in inches. And he's going to be playing basketball over in Europe, and they want to know how tall he is in centimeters because they use the metric system. So I need to calculate that. Now, a conversion in this case means that we want to change inches to centimeters. There are 2.54 centimeters in an inch. So if I want to know what hashtag's height is in centimeters, I need to take his 66 inches and multiply it by 2.54 centimeters. So he's 167 centimeters tall. We like to reference when we're using Google Sheets. So I'm going to come back here, I'm going to hit enter, and I want you to do this along with me. Delete the 66. Rather than that, we're going to type in a reference to the cell where the 66 exists, which is C10. And you'll notice that we get the same answer. Now here's why we did that. If we do that for the first cell, we don't have to do work to find the 24 other cells here, because we can move up here and we can do a copy. Now this is another keyboard shortcut. If you hold down the control button and then you hit the button C, you'll notice that this little dashed perimeter appears around the box. What that means is that you've copied what's in that cell. I'm going to move to the cell below where Cheery Blues is sitting, and I'm going to hit Control V, which is a paste. So hold down Control, hit V. Look what it just did. Rather than giving me the exact same number, instead, it took the cell location and it changed it from C10 to C11 because I moved down by 1. We can actually do this for the entire rest of the row. So I am going to now copy what's in C11. I'm going to move to, or what's in D11. I'm going to move to D12. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to move the cursor to the very bottom to Your Majesty Read, so that I've now highlighted that entire column. And now if I hit Control and paste, it will give me the heights of all of those individuals in centimeters. Sorting. I have a data set. It's the same data set from the last page, has the comical name of this individual and then his or her height. And I would like those heights to be in order ascending, meaning that I want them to go from the shortest individual to the tallest individual. Turns out that Google Sheets will do this for us. So if I want to sort ascending, my shortcut is going to be Alt-D. So first I have to tell Google Sheets what I want to sort. So I am going to highlight heights, and then I'm going to hit Alt-D, and I'll see that data pops up here. And there are a couple options. First, it says to sort the sheet A to Z. A to Z is ascending. Now, if I try to do that, it's going to tell me that there was a problem with merges. And what that means is that we've got all these merged cells up here, and you can't merge, or you can't sort when there's a merge. So instead, I'm going to come back and highlight this same group again. I'm going to hit an Alt-D, And I'm going to come down here to where it says range. So now it's just going to sort the cells that are in that range, A to Z. So you'll notice that it now goes from shortest to tallest. But we've got a big problem, right? These were the heights of people whose names we know. And we know that hashtag Jameson did not start out being 53 inches tall. So we must have made a mistake in that we sorted C, but we didn't sort columns A and B along with them. We can fix this. I'm going to do a Control Z to undo the mistake I just made. This time, I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to highlight not just column C, but also columns A and B. And then if I do an Alt-D, it's going to offer me the opportunity to sort that range. And this time, you'll notice that it put them in the right order, but it also moved the names that were in the corresponding columns so that the correct height, let's see, where are you, hashtag? Hashtag is still matched up with 64 inches tall. Okay, so that's it for me today. You need to go and read these directions and then finish doing what they say for cell referencing, copy to new sheet, conversion, and sorting.